Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for joining the vibe. I am Geneva Rose, and here on my channel, you can find all things related to self-love, spirituality, dance, music, book reviews, all of that good stuff and everything in between. So again, thank you for joining the vibe, and without further ado, let's just get right into it. So this video, this book, this review, I am seriously so excited. I'm literally beaming. I've been dying to just talk about it, to talk about it with anyone who will listen, to just talk about it on social media, everything. This right here, the glare is, but you see it. You made a fool of death with your beauty. This book gave me everything and more that I didn't even know I needed, and everything that I wanted and was searching for. It was absolutely amazing. I seen this book on TikTok a lot, and like kind of just on social media in general, and a lot of people were saying that it was messy, but it was so good and it was such an amazing story. And as soon as I heard the messiness, I was like, girl, say less. I want to read it. And it's from a Black author, and I'm really into right now specifically finding books by Black authors, Black stories. I'm just really passionate about that because I feel like that's kind of like a genre and niche that we're there, but we're kind of like suppressed, and we're not as prominent, at least in my eyes, as like a lot of white authors and like white stories and white books and all that stuff. So I think it's really exciting. This is just a little side note to just have Black authors, Black books. So I've really just been into that right now. And this book, oh my God, messiness was an understatement, but at the same time, when you're really reading the story, the messiness isn't even like messy. It's just like life. I think that's part of what the author wants to kind of convey through the story, that messiness, quote unquote, is a part of life. Like, life is not just smooth sailing, nothing bad ever happens, or not having to get your feet wet or get yourself into some. Life is literally getting into the, you know what I'm saying? Like, life is getting into the mess. It's getting into the drama sometimes. It's getting into the ocean and deciding to swim because you want to swim, because you want to be alive, because you want to feel. And this story just, it was everything. Like, and there are going to be some spoilers. So if you have not read the book yet, I'm so sorry, but I just have to talk about everything. So from the first, let's just read the first line. The first sentence of this book. Milan was the first person Faye had fucked since the accident. I said, what? We're already getting right into it, but I was here for it because I'm just like, yes, let's get right into it. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes. Let's get right into the messiness. I wanted it. I felt it. I was yearning for it. And as soon as it just starts, you just get right into the mess. You get in right into the story. And I'm not exactly sure I'm pronouncing the lead kind of like person in the book. Her name's Faye, Feyyi. So I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but just don't hold it against me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But yes, Faye. So this whole story is following Faye, whose husband has passed away 5 years ago in a car accident that they were both in. He passed away and she, got out pretty much unscathed, minor injuries. So this whole story is starting out from her basically, hooking up with Milan, that first story, but it's about her kind of finding herself again, finding love again, finding who she is outside of grief, and finding who she is again, like reborn through grief. When you lose someone that you love, or you go through something devastating, like it shakes you to the core, it shakes your whole life, and you see that it took her 5 years just to hook up with somebody. This wasn't even a relationship, it was just casual is an understatement. Casual sex, especially from that first interaction. If you've read the book and you know how they hooked up. And let me tell you right now, this is why I loved, since we're already getting into it, this is why I loved Joy, because she was just that voice of reason, especially if you're a Black woman, that friend that just speaks to you in a certain way that's just like, bitch, you did what? When? Huh? I know I told you to go out and have fun. I know I told you to go hook up with someone and have sex, but I did not tell you to do that. Because spoiler, she hooks up with Milan. She meets him at a party. She hooks up with him and she literally has sex with him. She don't even know him. She don't even, and I'm not shaming her for that, girl. Do you. I was here for it. I was with it until she wanted to have sex with him raw, and then she wanted to let him come inside. I said, girl, now you're doing too much. But when she was explaining it, I fully understood why she was doing what she was doing. She was just like, I can't see it. I can't, like, it's gonna make this moment something else that I don't want it to be. I want it to be raw and like, just like, like we're just devouring each other. I want this moment of passion and ecstasy. I want to feel something else and just feel like we're so into each other's bodies that this moment is all that really matters. And I think in a way she really, really needed that. That's not something that I would recommend to any of my friends, which is why I say I love Joy, nor would I do that myself. But at the same time, I totally got why she did it. And from there, the mess just keeps unfolding, honey. But I loved it every step of the way. And I read this book in 3 days, and I could have read it faster, but I was literally trying to take my time because I was loving it so much and I did not want it to be over. Like, when you read something or you like watch a movie or a show and you finish it and you just have fallen in love with it, it is so hard to just be like, oh, it's over now. Like, I reread so many different parts of this book when I was finished because I just did not want to let it go. The story just meant so much to me. The love story, the pain, the passion, the feeling of, you know, seeing her, you know, completely become reborn again and falling in love with life. It just meant so much to me. And it was something personally that I really, really, really needed to kind of remind me personally, just overall, like, kind of what I took from it. Like, it reminds you to live life, like that life is messy. Life can be complicated. Love can be messy. Love can be complicated, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And to remember that no matter what you have gone through or what you're going through or what darkness or pain that you feel or have felt, that love is still there for you. Love is still in this world. Love is still in this universe. Love is still in our families, in our relationships, in future partners and friends that we have not met yet. Love is still out there. But when you're going through that darkness, that hell, that pain, it can be so hard to kind of see that still. And this story was like a reminder that, like, love is here. Like, love is available to all of us. And like, you just have to be willing to kind of like go after it. And I wrote something on Twitter that when I finished this book, I kind of tweeted it about like what I felt about this. And I said that feelings are initiations into worlds. And this book fully, I feel like, encompassed and embodied that. Like, everything that she was going through, you know, and then when she meets, you know, I don't want to go too much into that until just wait. You know, when she goes through the things that she starts to go through, every single step of the way is just her trusting herself and trusting her feelings and trusting that she wants more from life than the pain that she was going through, which is why I say feelings are initiations into worlds if we let it be. Because by the end of the story, I was like, girl, I need to get out here and fall in love. I need to go out here and get on a whirlwind summer romance. It makes you feel like that. It makes you feel like you want to travel. It makes you feel like you just want to live. Like, that's what I loved about this book. It literally made me feel like I just wanted to live. I just wanted to be free. I just wanted to go. I don't know where I wanted to go, but I just wanted to go there. Now to kind of get into, you know, a little bit more of the storyline, a little bit more of the plot, honey. So Nasir. So I'm 50-50 on Nasir because, you know, he was real sweet in the beginning. He was all like, let's, you know, be slow. Let's take it slow. I'll, you know, as long as you need, you know, she opens up to him. The first guy, the first person really besides Joy that she's really opened up to about Jonah and the pain that she feels. And, you know, they're on that first real date and she's crying. But also, you know, how she meets him. You know, because the whole time when you're reading it from that first interaction, especially because she had already hooked up with Milan, which was Nasir's friend, right? She hooks up with him at this party. And then she goes, you know, with Joy. And then she meets him another night, goes to meet Milan another night and ends up meeting Nasir. And that's when she meets him, and then their little romance, if you want to call it that, gets started. And that's when I was like, okay, this is the one. This is the guy. He wants to be slow with her. There's a chemical attraction. She was like the eye contact, the everything. And he was just being so sweet and so patient and so loving. But throughout the story, and especially once you get to the end and you're kind of going, you've kind of digested everything, you kind of realize that he just like, he was almost too nice. He was too perfect. He was just like, you know, those guys that are like, they're the nice guy, but then when it really comes down to it, and you see towards the end when he goes crazy on her, which we'll get into it, you know, that he really wasn't that nice guy that he was kind of like giving. And for me, like, someone being kind to you, someone treating you with respect, someone being patient with you, that doesn't mean that they deserve anything from you. You don't owe them a relationship. You don't owe them sex. You don't owe them money. You don't owe them your time. You don't owe them anything. Human respect, human decency, human kindness is a basic human need. You don't get 5 stars for doing that. Like, and I feel like he really thought that, you know, towards the end of the story, I feel like I could feel and see, like, he really thought that, like, she owed him something, or like they were inevitably going to be together because he was nice to her. And I'm just like, no. But, you know, when I was first reading their story, I was gonna say love story, but it ain't that, honey. When I was first reading like their story and kind of like their journey, better word, their journey kind of together, I really did think that he was gonna be like the one for her because he was so sweet and so loving. And, you know, but I did think, because I will say, even though she had been going through a lot with the death of Jonah, and like she was still moving through her grief and all that stuff, you know, there was an element to me that I felt that, yes, you want to take it slow, because if you're building a real relationship, you do want to take it slow. You do want to get to know each other. But at the same time, it was like, are you taking it slow, or are you really just not feeling this dude? Because I don't think you're really feeling him. Like, I felt from the beginning, I'm like, I don't think you're really feeling him. Because taking it slow, yes, but they were like turtles. I'm like, you can't even kiss him? Like, you can't do nothing? Like, you're not really feeling attracted to him like that, because you feel that zazazazoom. It just wasn't there, and I could feel it. And I just felt like, either, you know, when they went on the trip, that, you know, something magical was going to happen between them, or like something else was going to happen. And we see something else sure did happen. But, you know, I thought Nasir was really sweet in the beginning, and I really liked, in a way, what he did for her, because he helped her like open up. He helped her realize that, like, you have to take a chance, you have to open up, you have to be willing to do those things in order to experience love. And that's not just in relationships. You have to be willing to open up in general if you want to experience any good things in life. And otherwise, you're just going to stay the same, staying in the same life. And for, you know, Faye, staying in the same grief, staying sad, depressed, you know, focused so inward, you know, just her and joy, and that's it. You know, and that's not what she wanted, which was what you could see through all of these relationships. And I liked how she was hooking up with Milan for like a brief moment, and then she just realized, like, oh, this isn't really, I'm not really feeling this, you know, this isn't really enough. And I really liked that for her. And then she started, you know, her and this started dating this year, and then they were at the concert together, and you're just like, oh my God, this is just so cute. It's just so perfect. But let's be real, this is life. Nothing is perfect. No guy, no woman, no relationship, no friendship. Nothing is perfect. Like, perfect, no flaws, no nothing. That's just not real. So for me, when he was just showing no signs of imperfections or like differences, I was just like, okay, I don't know if this guy is really who he says he is, because I'm just not feeling it. But I'm not trying to bash him, because at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. Ultimately, you know, even if it didn't work out between them, he did exactly what he needed to do. He brought her to, you know who. I was dying. I was gagging from that first moment that, you know, they get off the plane and she goes and meets the dad, and they go for the trip, you know, for her art, which was also an amazing thing within itself. I love that she was also an artist, and her art was like being reborn again. And it was just so amazing. Like this whole story is just about like the rebirth of love, and I loved it so much. But I just loved, you know, they are on their trip, and then she finds out like his dad is like this famous celebrity chef, and she knows who he is, and her and Joy and all this amazingness. So I'm not thinking too much of it. And then when she has that first interaction where she's like, oh my God, the dad's hot, I knew it right then. I was like, that's it. He's the guy. He's the guy. Because you could see how, like, for me, like, it's about electricity, it's about chemistry, it's about connection. And you know, as much as she had like this sweet connection and like maybe affection for Nasir, it was nowhere near the flames that she felt when it came to Alim. I don't know, but the daddy, the fine ass daddy, okay? And you know what I love about reading too is you get to imagine everything in your mind. So what I'm imagining both of them looking like, I'm like, I see why it was a hard decision, girl, because in my head Nasir's fine as hell, and in my head the daddy fine as hell. So I'm like, right, I see the dilemma. I see the dilemma. But so from when that story begins to unfold between her and the dad, I don't want to say her and the dad because that kind of sounds weird, but her and Alim, I don't know, girl. But when that whole story just starts to unfold, it was just so beautiful. And as messy as it was, I just felt like it was so beautiful because it was like they were both becoming reborn again. Like, yes, he had all this success, and you know, he said he devoted his life to his children, and he had all this happiness and love in other ways. They both really connected through their grief, through their pain of feeling alone, of not having anywhere to put all of that love and pain, the love that they still wanted to feel, but that they didn't feel anymore because of like the pain. And they both just connected through the grief. And it was just so beautiful to see them just like both falling in love with each other, but also just like opening up again to life and opening up to themselves. Because, you know, Faye talks about how like a part of her was like gone, and when she, you know, comes into contact with Alim, and you know, they get together, like it was like she found herself again because she let herself feel, she let herself fall in love. And that was never going to happen with Milan, that was never going to happen with Nasir, because they were bringing out certain versions of her that she really wasn't, and nor did she really want to be. She really wanted to be her. It was always going to be a new her because she was no longer going to be the person that she was when she was married to Jonah. And it also has been 5 years, so naturally you are going to grow and be a different person. But it was also like the her that she felt was gone for so long was reborn again. And I loved that so much. And just everything, you know, him cooking. And can we just talk about how amazing this writing is? Oh my God, the imagery, like, oh my God, is the descriptions of everything, if you know what I'm saying. But just like I feel like I could taste the food, that the way she wrote everything. I was just like, okay, this food sounds delicious. Can I get some of that? I want to be in his kitchen. Can he cook for me? It was just amazing. But you just knew, like the buildup was just coming. You just knew that they were going to get together. You knew it, but it was so messy. It was so messy because I'm like, bro, like you're really not going to go hook up with his daddy. I know you're not. Like the whole time I'm like, do it, girl, do it. But at the same time, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. And then once the story progresses, you realize that that is the love story. They are the love story. It's not her and Nasir. It's not her and Milan. It's not her and anyone else. It's not her and Joy. Because for a second there, I thought it was maybe her and Joy. But no, it's her. But really also, it's just about her falling in love with life all over again and rediscovering what life can be. And can we just get into the sex scenes? Honey, the descriptions. When I was reading this, I was squealing and giggling and ooh, I was just dying, gagging, living, breathing, falling on the floor, everything. I'm like, like, I need to find something. It was just like, oh wait, I came right to it. Hold on. No, I can't. No, I'm not gonna read that. I'm not gonna read that on YouTube. But if you have read this, the sex scenes are next level. They're so amazing, and I'm just like, girl, you deserve that. From when they hooked up in the kitchen and they just like made out, or when she like, and like so many things were happening and I was like, that's not really happening. Like when she licked the mango off of his hand, I'm like, what'd you just do? Because the whole time, like, you know her attraction for him, but you're uncertain about his attraction for her, if he's feeling it. Because in real life, he shouldn't even really be looking at her, because she's like dating his son. I'm like, but you know, that didn't matter. From when they hooked up in the kitchen and they just like make out, you're like, oh my God. And then when they were in the garden, when they were on the sunset, just every moment that happened with them together, the build up, it was just getting so intense and so intense and so intense. And I was just like, oh my God, when is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? And I was getting towards the end of the book, right? And they hadn't hooked up yet. And I'm like, girl, when is this gonna happen? I know they're not gonna leave us hanging like this. And then when she was like, oh, let's go up the mountain again, I was like, I know what's happening. I know what you're doing. You want to go at the top of that mountain watching the sunset. I know what you're trying to do, girl. I know what you're trying to do. And she did it. She did it. And I was proud of her, because it sounded like it was amazing. It was next level. And she deserved that. She deserved that. And I felt like that sex scene in particular, it was just like a reminder, especially for Black women, that like you deserve pleasure. Yes, maybe this is messy, but like you deserve pleasure, you deserve love, you deserve someone to respect you and appreciate you and be there for you and do all the things, and not someone like Nasir, who, not saying that he's a bad guy, you know, this is also just a story, but not saying he's a bad guy, but not just going with someone because it's easy or because it's simple or because he's nice, but going with someone that you feel a connection with, chemistry with, someone that lights your world on fire, and not necessarily in a bad way, but they light you up inside and they light up your whole life. Like, that's what we all deserve: passion, fire, invigoration, someone who's willing to put it all on the line for you. You know, Alim was ready to put it on the line. He said, them kids, I want to be with you. And I said, okay. As messy as I was, and if it was real life, I'd be like, I don't know about that. But at the same time, I loved it, because I was like, girl, he's willing to sacrifice a lot for you. That shows what he feels. He's feeling something very deep and profound for you. And the whole time she's questioning it. She's questioning it. And if you've ever been in a relationship, or just, I'm sure we've all had this, where like you're really liking someone and you're not sure if they like you, and you're just questioning yourself and you're doubting yourself and you're doubting yourself. And then when you finally have that culmination where she realizes, like, this is not just a hookup, this is not just a casual thing, or this is not just in my head, he feels it too. And as the story is building up, you're seeing he feels it too, he feels it too, he feels it too. And he's just willing to put it all on the line for her. And he was just so gentle and so patient and so kind, and so just like, I feel like I just fell in love with him in the book. I'm over here like, where's my alien? Where he at? Where's my fine ass older man? Where he at? Where he at? I don't want him to have no son, because I'm not dating a son and a daddy. But where is he at? Because I need him. I need him. And I think most of us who love this book can be like, I needed him. I need him. But overall, I just feel like this story just woke me up inside, and it just reignited this fire and this passion and this just that feeling inside. And I feel like I was just so happy for her, and I hope there's a sequel. Because we need it. I need a sequel. I need to know what happens with them, because by the end he's talking about, would you ever get married again, and then she tells him she loves him. Oh my God, I was just so happy for her. And I also thought it was really funny that like Nasir was like, oh, you should tell him, by the way, tell him that you're in love with him. And I was like, Girl, we been knew that you're in love with him. You just couldn't realize it. And he's been in love with you. But it was sad. I felt bad for Nasir. I really did, because that would be really complicated if that really happened in real life. Like, this girl that you really care about, you really like, she goes, you take her to your hometown, and, you know, you show her your house and your dad, and she falls in love with your dad and doesn't want to be with you anymore. Which, sorry, you know, I want to feel bad for him, but for some reason I just don't, because I'm just so in love with her and her getting her happiness that all else did not matter to me. And then when he threw her stuff around, and the way he just emotionally was responding and communicating to her, and she even says it, she was like, by the way Nasir responded to me, like, I could see that he was not someone I ever would have really wanted to be with. And that's how I felt. I'm like, girl, the way he's acting, like, ew, you would have never wanted to be with him anyway. He's not emotionally mature. He doesn't know how to communicate his feelings. I understand being angry. I understand in a way being violently angry, but I thought he was going to hit her. And I was like, okay, now you're doing too much. Now you're doing too much. The throwing the stuff around and the throwing her out and practically grabbing her braids and throwing her out the house. I was like, you've gone too far, my guy. You've gone too far. And then, of course, Alim comes. Saves the day with his fine ass. And it's so funny how I can say his fine ass, because it's literally like a book. Like, I don't know what he looks like, but in my head, girl, in my head. But overall, so in love with this book. This is one of my favorite books. I got this from my library, but I am going to buy it, because it's just become one of my new favorite books. It's just like a love story that you need, and it's messy and it's amazing, and I just love the messiness. I love the tea, honey. I loved it. And it was just, and look at this cover. I'm sorry, this glare is like messing with the beauty, but like, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous, beautiful, and I love that they were black, and it was just a black story with black, like, just language. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Like, and it just felt so good. And this is just a story about, like, love. And I don't care if it was messy. I don't care if it was wrong. I don't care what was right and what was this. All I know is that I love the love that I read in this, and I loved the happiness that she got to have, and I loved Alim, and I'm obsessed with him. I want to marry him myself, and I need my celebrity chef potential husband to come through so I can have this type of thing going on, because I'm absolutely obsessed, absolutely in love. I truly hope there's a sequel, because I need more sex scenes. I need more from them, because when I read that, when they were on the Sunset Peak and I read that whole thing, and I'm not ashamed to say I probably read that scene like 4 or 5 times, and I probably will read again before I return it to my library. Thank you so much. Because it was just so good. It was just so good, and it was just so descriptive, and I was just like, yes, girl, you deserve this. And he was just such a pleaser. I was just like, girl, that's what you need. That's what you deserve. That's what it is. So yes, I hope there's a sequel. I'll say that one more time. I hope there's a sequel, because I need to see them get married. I need some more drama. I need to see what messiness can ensue in their relationship, but also see what love begins to take place for them now, and how that, you know, ooh, like, what's gonna happen? They get married. What's this? Nasir gonna be the best man? Lorraine gonna be the bridesmaid? I didn't like Lorraine anyways. Even though she was barely in the book, I just feel like she had a funky attitude. But overall, so happy, so proud of Faye and her, you know, creating that painting. What was it, like $10,000 commission? Just everything. It was just like, it just felt like the universe was being so magical for her. Like, it was just like everything was aligning. Like, you know, believe what you want to believe, but like, if this was real life, I'd be like, no, like, all that was meant to be, you know, like, you were meant to meet Milan so you could meet Nasir, so you could meet the man that you were actually going to fall in love with, that you could potentially be with for years and years and years. And I know they're talking about, like, Alim was talking about, it hurts me that I would have to leave you because you know, he's older than her, so he'd probably die before her. But it was still like, the fact that that was even on his mind, and just, I know it happened so fast, but I can tell you from experience, sometimes it's not about the time, it's about the soul connection. And when you feel that passion and that presence and that love, go towards it, go for it, as long as it's healthy. You know, I don't recommend getting into anything too messy or abusive or anything, but that's not what this was at all. It was beautiful, it was amazing, it was love. So thank you so much for listening to me talk and rant and review this book. You made and just the title, you made a fool of death with your beauty. Come on, that's poetry right there. Poetry. And when you read the story, you get it. Because I'm like, you sure did, girl. So thank you so much for listening to me, Chad. I am obsessed with this book. Can I say it again? 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 I'm obsessed, in love with this story so much. It fed me everything that I needed and more. I'm so excited to read my next book. My next book will be Honey and Spice, I believe. So I'm really excited for that one, but I'm so happy for this, and I definitely plan to read more from this author. But right now I'm currently interested in like spicy romances. This awoke something in me, so I need to continue to go down the path, if you know what I'm saying. So yes, thank you so much. Let me know what you think of the book, what you thought of this video. Comment, like, share, subscribe. And if you haven't read it and you're thinking about this, read it. Read it. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, I'm disappointed in you, because this is amazing. So yes, I am Geneva Rose again. Go ahead and follow me on all social media. That will be in the description box below. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And what else was I gonna say? I don't know, but thank you so much. I will see you again in another video.